Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So it's been an exhausting day.
Yeah, it's been a long day and a long week. We're
Yeah.
pretty tired.
Yeah.
But that's life.
Yeah. It still kind of felt like the spirit put it on my heart that we should just really still make a video today anyway. Keep up the momentum. Sometimes you just got to do stuff even if you're not in the best mental or physical state. At least me personally, I injured myself again. Last podcast, just after that podcast, we went camping, and yeah, long story short, I injured my right foot / ankle, calcaneus or whatever the heel bone thing is, really badly. We had to leave and go to the hospital again. And I had an x-ray. They said that I hadn't broken anything, which was fantastic. They couldn't see any fracture, even a stress fracture or anything. They had a really good look at it, and basically just sent me home. And yeah,
I did find something funny though.
oh yeah, I have a sixth something. What is it?
Start of the toe, whatever.
Yeah,
that's
like
called.
a sixth like ligament thing in my foot that like 1% of people have or something. It's not like anything like massa something or whatever it is. I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Right.
We'll put it in we'll put it in the text. We'll put a text thing on it or whatever in the video.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. Long story short, yeah, no fracture, no nothing, but had to cut our trip unfortunately short. I couldn't even walk. It was like as painful as dislocating my knee, and yeah, it's been healing even more slowly than the knee, unfortunately, which is a shock considering how bad the knee was. But anyway, give it a bit of time and I'll get better, but it's not nice to be sort of really in both my legs feeling a lot of pain at the moment. I haven't been able to help with a lot of practical things as well. We had a really big storm here a little while ago. We put that in one of the Vibes videos. The road got a bit destroyed and damaged, and we had to dig out the gutters and stuff, and I didn't get to help with that because I couldn't help because I just couldn't even walk. So yeah, it's not been fun, and today I feel like I've been in the car for a very long time driving, so I've been really cramped in terms of like having my feet always bent and everything, and having to hobble around and stuff, so it hasn't been fun at all. So,
yeah. But we did go for a road trip today.
Yeah.
Went to see some new places, went to some nice cafes.
Yeah, we did.
Was really lovely.
We went to a really lovely cafe, Nursery, and then we also went to another cafe as a vegetarian place. The guy there was really, really nice.
Happy Apple.
Yeah, the Happy Apple was really, really lovely, and yeah, had some good food and stuff. It was a beautiful day. You know, it rained really, really well last night for quite a few hours. We had 6-7 hours worth of rain, so weren't really sure what today was going to be like. It was pretty wet this morning, but it dried out a lot today, so yeah. Roads were all dry and stuff, which was great. Nothing was slippery, so that was really, really good. Yeah, and then yeah, we're going to get you some glasses, I think.
Yeah, I used to wear glasses all the time when I was younger, but I stopped because I just didn't like it, and my one eye is pretty decent, so it makes me feel like I can see well enough without glasses, basically.
It kind of compensates for the other eye,
But we have, just finally decided that it's probably a good thing for me to get some glasses, because it can get pretty straining for my eyes, especially when I look at screens for a long time, and also just sun protection. So been looking at that.
It's so sunny, and your other sunnies broke. We've had them repaired like once or twice, but and so time for new glasses, and we're going to get you these what are they, the color changing ones?
Photochromic.
Photochromic glasses, like really nice polarized ones that you can still use in the car, and basically sit in front of a computer screen. They won't ruin the colors on the computer screens and stuff. And the nice thing is the MacBook that we have, the one with, it has the nano whatever the heck feature. That one, it actually I can wear my polarized sunglasses and the colors don't get messed up, which is great, and there's no glare or anything, which is fantastic. I think with other screens and with certain kinds of LCD screens and stuff, you definitely would have a really bad shift in color, but these retina reality things that the Apples have, I don't know what they're called, I can't remember. off the top of my head, too tired. They work really well with sunnies. So yeah, and you're going to be spending more time anyway, I think, in the future,
Yeah.
God willing, working on this video game. So yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just those kind of practical things that take time and
Yeah.
a lot of thinking
And
and
a lot of
effort,
money.
and
Yeah.
money as well. But hopefully they'll last a long time. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, at least my other glasses I've had for ages.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True.
But yeah, and then otherwise it's been a week of, I guess, waiting some more. You had your meeting at the beginning of the week.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping on Tuesday, Monday we'd have it, but then we ended up having it on Tuesday.
Well, didn't you have? We had one meeting on Monday, didn't you? With CTO. I don't think you had that one last week. You had the meeting with the CTO on Monday, and then the day after you had the meeting about the salary.
No,
This
babe.
is how tired you are.
Yeah, no, babe. I had the meeting with the CTO on Friday.
No, it was Monday.
Okay,
It was Monday.
I'm sorry. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
Like
It's real life.
Yeah, this is real life. Like
Yeah.
I'm so exhausted. So, yeah. Anyway, long story short, they said like the offer I got presented with was not really what I was expecting. But it wasn't so far out of range that, you know, we just had to kind of just go, well, thanks, but no thanks.
And then want to hire him.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the main thing, because you
Yeah.
didn't know that last.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, long story short, we, like, I just really, as politely as possible, just like asked them to sort of take it back, and kind of like, you know, improve on it. And I gave them fantastic reasons to do it. It's a very big investment, you know, like I want to work for this company, and it would be a long stint, you know, like we're talking potentially the last job I ever work before we open up our own business again, God willing, you know. And yeah, quite a few years down the line, and with Japanese companies and stuff, you know, like they really do take care of you, but it's a big investment for them, and it's a big investment obviously for us to move over there as well, you know, and to leave this place. I mean, we're not paying any rent here. We're really blessed here. We get to go to sleep to the rain, you know. It's very beautiful. It's very nice and peaceful here. You know, you can hear the birds and the bees and the insects and stuff. It's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, it has its caveats, as you know, like the septic system we have isn't all that good, and that's how I injured my first knee, basically trying to clean that out. You know, and yeah, I mean, there's lots of weeding and lots of gardening to do, and the forests will just well and truly grow over this place if you stop for even like 5 seconds. And there was lots of, you know, lots of logging and stuff to do around here when we first got here. It'd be really dark where we're sitting right now if we hadn't really opened this entire area up. And then there was, of course, the, you know, the kind of pushback from the community. Some of the neighbors weren't too happy with that sort of thing, and then we sort of had to really sort of mediate between that. So it's been a lot of stuff going on. It's just been so many lessons to learn, and yeah, I mean, it really is lovely here, but it also really takes a toll on your psyche as well. And I don't see Japan, especially Tokyo, being really any different. I think it'll be very much as kind of like, but
In a very different way.
yeah, in a very different way. But I think the convenience is going to be really fantastic, and you know, it doesn't have to be forever, you know, like, again, God willing, we might have kids there. I have no idea. Like, there's just so many things to think about, and we want to take it sort of one step at a time. But yeah, as Amanda said, the good news is they do want to hire me after all this period of proving myself and everything, and going through all of the hoops and stuff. I've basically stopped looking at other jobs completely in Australia, and I've just kind of poured all my prayer and all of my effort into this one, because it feels like the one that God sort of just offered to me, you know, like based on the testimony we've already shared, that we just walked, you know, we just kept walking from this cafe right into a Seventh-day Adventist church, and there it was. The first person I met became the person who gave me the reference, and here we are. But yeah.
And I mean, it's been a good time, and we just talked as well this morning about how this time has been very different for both Daniel and I. Daniel has been learning, you know, lessons in patience and waiting.
Spiritual lessons.
Yeah, spiritual lessons. And for me, it's been a lot more practical focus, learning how to drive properly, learning how to live off-grid, learning, how to, you know, work in a new country as well.
Yeah.
Like I don't have as much work experience as Daniel has, so that has been very sort of valuable for me this time. And also, having quite a few colleagues and people to pray for, and I've been really grateful to have so many Christian colleagues that also sort of lift God up at work and play Christian songs and music, and sort of that, that are really positive, and that you can tell that they have, the spirit in them. And also like meeting people to pray for. For example, this week I've been listening sort of in the background. I haven't been directly involved in the conversation, but about this young girl, just a couple years younger than me, who's, been struggling a lot in her life. She's dealing with depression and anxiety and is very open about it. And she does seem like to have quite a bone to pick with Christianity and with God. And she's very sort of like woke as a person, and very sort of, self-righteous, if you might want to call it like that, virtue signaling and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, it doesn't do you any favors. Yeah.
And I can tell in me, like in my heart, that it's hard for me to like her. I'm like, to be honest, like it's hard for me because I don't see the spirit in her, if you want to say it like that. But I also know that if I have that kind of feeling towards another person, that is a big, big call for me to pray for them, and also to ask God to give me love for that person.
Yeah.
And also to ask God for the wisdom to have the words to say when it is time to speak. Because I know that obviously we do need to use our words, and also we need to be really careful, especially around people who are very much sort of anti-God or anti-church or anti-Christianity or whatever. Like, if they've already seen a bad side of it, you really need to prove through your actions as well.
Yeah.
It can't be like words only or actions only.
Yeah.
It needs to be a combo.
Yeah.
And Daniel's been helping me as well a lot with thinking, about how to approach an atheist, because you've been one yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like, this world is a giant litmus test as to whether or not we can show our humanity and our faith through our works. I mean, that really is it at the end of the day. And I think a big test for you and for the whole world, for all believers, is to remember that this person, this lady, is exactly the kind of person that Christ came to save. This is exactly the kind of person that our Messiah died for. Self-righteous people, people that think they know better than everybody else, people that are high in ego, personal justice, obsessed with their own fundamental idea of justice. People who have a bone to pick with the entire world, with governments, with systems, with rules, with leaders, with everybody essentially. And we just were saying previously, I won't go into it, but just coming home even, Amanda said something funny, and then 5 seconds later, like, there was a bit of a mistake. I said, pride comes before the fall, and you went, yep, pride comes before the fall. And it's how it is. Like, all of us, every single one of us, like, as soon as we think that we're on top of the world, as soon as we think that we've done something, it's so easy to fall into the like, the trap of the flesh, and announce your victory before you have actually been able to stand, like, on that pedestal and look around and go, yeah, I have made it. Like, it's really one of those things, hindsight 2020, like, we've just all got to be super humble.
Remember to eat your humble pie.
Yeah, and I'm again so proud of you, because you owned it straight away. You were just like, oh man, like, and that's where we all stand. It was your chance today, and it was mine the other day as well, and yeah, it's just like, we all have our turn. Like, we all have our turn. We call it in IT dog fooding, like practicing what you preach. Doing the things that you're telling other people to do, eating your own dog food, basically. It's not a nice thing to do, but you've got to do it, essentially. So yeah, I mean, there's lessons to learn everywhere, and this has been a fantastic chance for us to learn that as well. Like, for me, it's been all about patience and keeping track of things and keeping my emotions in check, and and really giving myself like, you know, no quarter to like just kind of like become apathetic again. You know, like I've already been in that place, in that position in my life, you know, like now I have Christ, you know, I don't have the right to be apathetic anymore, you know. And that was also what we talked about today. You know, at some point you've got to just stop listening to somebody, you know, just yap about their life, about hedonism, about their opinions, about politics. And at some point, you know, like if you have the spirit, like you have to step in and start to talk and start to kind of help that person, because you know we're called to preach, we're called to evangelize, we're called to spread the good news, you know. And that's the trap, to look at someone and go, yeah, not you, like I'm not even going to try and talk to you, and then we make excuses like you're too different from me, you know, that you wouldn't understand, you're not going to respect me, you're not going to listen to me. And we don't know that, like we don't know. I mean, you know, I found Jesus like when I really started to hunger for God, and I really started to get like I know there's a better way than this life. I was on 4chan. I was on 4chan, like one of the most like autistic, holier than thou, like cesspools of the whole world. I was on 4chan, but surprisingly enough, there are so many strong Christians on that site. And it was just some anon, some guy who just made the most incredible arguments for Christ that I just knew, like there's just no way I could refute what this guy was saying, you know? Like there's no way. And he wasn't aggressive, he wasn't putting people down. It really just reminded me later on, after I read more about Jesus, it reminded me of Jesus. It was like, no, this is the standard and this is the way. And he did not compromise, he did not back away from that standard. Everyone else made arguments, they said, oh, you know, this and that, made racist comments. I mean, you know, like added their own optics, their own lens to it. And this guy just kept it like 100 about Jesus and about his example. And he had so many good modern examples of how the world is just absolutely poised against Christ, that we as people are naturally poised against, you know, against Jesus. And it was just amazing, you know, like, you know, maybe one day I'll make another video about it. We talk about it more in length, but long story short, you know, like the good news is for us as well, I have seen the other side of a gospel-centered life, and you have too. I mean, you've seen it through me, like, you know, you've seen it through a lot of my history, a lot of how I grew up, a lot of the stories that I've told you, a lot of the family of mine that you have experienced as well, you know. Like, I mean, we have, you know, like my sister, she's not a believer, you know, and I've had a talk with her, and she's said to me really passionately, like, Daniel, how can you believe something that you don't believe? And well, the answer is really quite simple. Like, I mean, in Romans, it says, you know, and how could they, you know, like, and how could they believe if no one is there to teach? Like, if no one is there to preach, you know, like, or how could they believe in whom they have not known? How could they know unless someone would tell them? How would someone tell them unless someone essentially has seen the example of Jesus? And that's it. I butchered that, but anyway, we'll just leave it in the video. Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, like, someone has to say something. Someone had to say something on freaking 4chan for me to just be like, you know, to put away what I was doing and then start reading into this Jesus person. And it wasn't like in a day I just got converted and stuff, but as I was saying to you in the coffee store today, it takes an effort, you know. I mean, in Romans, essentially what Paul is saying in a whole lot of that is like, you know, you want a relationship with Christ or with God through Christ, with both, hopefully, you've got to put in the effort. Like, if you want to learn guitar, you've got to pick one up and start playing, and you've got to understand that God isn't just a concept. He's a person. Like we say God is a person because he has all of the characteristics of a person. He has a personality, you know. He has a personality. He has feelings, you know. Like, he has moral standards, you know, and the same with Jesus. You know, Jesus is a person. Jesus walked the earth, you know, like he lived, he died, he was risen on the third day, and he's alive today, you know. So yeah, it's like, you know, not like he's walking around the earth, but he could be, you know, he could be in whatever corporeal form that he wants to be that we can't see, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, and also I think one of the really important things that you said, like that often stops us from reaching out to other people, like when we alienate ourselves from them. Like, you know, one of the beautiful things that we have as believers is that we don't have to compare ourselves to these people.
No, we
But we
shouldn't.
just have to, like, you know, to put on the personality of Christ, because he's the one in us that is supposed to do the works, like, you know, not our own self. And when we have Christ, we know that Christ can relate to anyone, because, you know, he's the perfect man, and he's our perfect example.
Exactly,
and it doesn't matter, you know,
tempted in
how
every way
different,
we were tempted, you know?
and it doesn't matter how different you think someone else is from you. There is always a way that God might want to use you in that circumstance, whether it's through words or just through the way that you are.
Yeah, and think of the person that, you know, like the tax collector, I think, and the other person, I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry, I'm so tired.
Could it be Nicodemus?
No, and the man who went to the altar and he said, "Lord, I thank you that you have not made me like other men."
Right. I don't think we have the name of it.
We don't. I thank you that you have not made me like other men. I thank you that you haven't made me like this person next to me. And then the other person, you know, like, and of course, also about how much money they gave as well. The other person cast in everything that he had, you know, at the altar, and he wouldn't even look up to heaven. And he said, "Lord, have mercy on me, a wretch. Like, have mercy on me, a wretch." And if we think, you know, it's a trap. Like, if we think we're the first person, if we think we're that tax collector or whatever, you know, we've lost. That's not, like, you know, that's not who Christ came to save. He came to save the wretch. And the very first thing is understanding when you see someone else that you just cannot stand, you know, or you just think to yourself, like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not that person, or I couldn't imagine life like them, or any of the other things. That's specifically, you know, your call from God to say that that person is the one that you need to get to know the most. That's the one that you need to show the most amount of love to. You know, you got to love your neighbor, and you got to love your enemy as well, you know, and you got to pray for your enemy. And I mean, that's it. And enemy is a strong word. You know, enemy is a strong word, you know, but at the end of the day, like, you know, if everyone had the optics that Jesus has, there wouldn't be enemies. You know, no one would be anyone's enemy, you know. So, yeah. Anyway, it's been a very long video, I think. So, yeah, I think we'll just leave it there. So,
thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for having patience with us. Still wanted to make this video. Can't always be, you know, full of pep or anything. But, yeah, you know, thanks for spending your time with us. So, yeah.
God bless.
See you. God bless. Bye.